Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. If you're just joining us, I've been talking to Wisconsin's 45th Lieutenant Governor, Mandela Barnes. The Lieutenant Governor is a former Wisconsin State Representative, a MPS graduate, and he's worked in many capacities when it comes to politics and community involvement. It is a pleasure to have him join us on Our Issues. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, so we've got this little thing called the DNC that's coming to Milwaukee in July of 2020. So you've said that it's no accident that Milwaukee was chosen. Talk about that and, in your opinion, what it means for the city.
Yeah, it's certainly not an accident. Our story here in Milwaukee, in the state of Wisconsin, is the story that the DNC, the Democratic Party, should be highlighting because this is how we win again. This is how we make sure that we're focusing on people, again, that felt like they may have been left behind or nobody talked to them or nobody carried their issues. And we can go back from a historical context, or we can talk about the switch from 2016 to 2018 where, we slipped and we Democrats lost the state of Wisconsin in 2016, but we bounced back in 2018. We quickly learned from those mistakes. And I think that's why it's important that the DNC comes here to show that there is a commitment, there's a dedication to working people across this country. We are a working class city. We have working class roots. And I can't think of a better place to have the DNC than Milwaukee.
Yeah, all eyes on Milwaukee.
All eyes on Milwaukee. It's going to be a great time, too.
Yeah, and speaking of 2020, Wisconsin could very well be a deciding factor when it comes to the 2020 presidential race. We've already had a long list of Democratic candidates come to the city, and then you have President Trump. I believe he's been here now 6 times as president. So clearly, everybody understands that a lot is anchored right here in this state.
It's an important part of the country. If you look at, Donald Trump, who did not get 50% of the vote here in Wisconsin, our margin of victory is only 1.2 percentage points. So Wisconsin is always in play. But through organizing, I'm hoping that will not be the case again. And it's more than just hoping, it's working towards that goal, making sure that we are having the necessary conversations, especially in non-election years. And that's why you're going to see so many more candidates who are vying for the Democratic nomination to show up in Milwaukee, to show up in Wisconsin, to make their voices heard, to make their presence felt, because you can't get away without showing up here if you want to become president of the United States. And I think that the last presidential election showed that.
Yeah,
and
it did.
There will be a focus and a priority placed on Wisconsin. And I couldn't be more happy about it because couldn't be more happy about it because this is how we win back the nation in states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. When you pay attention and focus to, pay attention to and focus on the base, which is hardworking people, it's how you win again.
Well, I just mentioned earlier that you were an MPS graduate, went to Marshall, and of course Governor Tony Evers served as the Wisconsin Superintendent of Public Instruction. So I think it's obvious that education is very important to the both of you, not to mention your mother was a school teacher. So what are your hopes for education in Wisconsin, specifically dealing with MPS? Yeah,
so my hopes for education aren't necessarily hopes for education itself. It's the periphery. It's what happens around education that impacts learning. Again, access to health care. Our students have to have access to health care, quality, affordable health care. Our students, and mental health and physical health as well. We have to pay attention to mental health because, we have a lot of schools many schools that don't have access to mental health professionals in the building. That could do a lot to identify issues that our students are dealing with. Social workers who could also help to identify issues that students are dealing with, making sure that we are doing everything that we can do to alleviate poverty, food insecurity, homelessness. All these issues, all these factors create barriers to education where we have some people who could be bright young minds, but unfortunately there are structures in place that prevent them from being the best students that they can be. If you look at, again, if you show up to school hungry, it's going to be really difficult for you to learn. When you look at reading scores, a lot of times children have vision issues that aren't addressed. And it's not that they can't read, they just can't see.
Yeah.
And once we get to those root causes, it'll have an overall better impact on education.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and we do
It
have to
does.
fund our schools too, so that our classrooms aren't crowded, and so that we have those other professionals in the building as well.
And I'm glad you brought that up. The first state budget under Governor Evers provides a $570 million increase for grades 5 through 12. So that is still less than what he really hoped for, but he was able to take, if I'm correct, some $65 million and add to that to get this total, right?
Yeah, there's almost an additional $90 million through the veto process that will go directly to our schools. The proposed budget was $1.6 billion because that would have gotten us to our state's commitment of 2/3 funding.
Wow.
So that schools aren't left behind, so that each school is adequately funded from the state to provide the best education possible. And fortunately, we were able to get a little bit more money into education. It's not a small sum, but it's not nearly as much as our children deserve. And now Republicans in the legislature are frustrated, and they want to try to go to a constitutional amendment to remove the ability of the governor to add additional money for our schools. They were frustrated about that. And it's like I don't think that a constitutional amendment is a proper response to money being put in the budget to support our students
And to support the future.
and to support the future.
Yeah.
That is just the response shows how out of touch that our leaders in the legislature can be.
So Governor Evers signed the Wisconsin budget with 78 partial vetoes. So there were increases to roads and health care, but again, far less than what he actually wanted. Okay, so what are your thoughts? And you kind of just honed in on it, this whole compromise process with the Republican lawmakers on really being on the same page and getting things done for everyday people.
And so I don't even know that we can call it compromise. It's like the governor handed the Joint Finance Committee a vase. They broke the vase. And when it passed out of their committee, and once it got out of the legislature, it was broken up a little more. When it got back through the veto process, we glued the vase back together. It's not what it was in the beginning, but it was better than we got it.
That's quite an analogy.
It's better than we got it.
Okay.
It was at least presentable to some degree. It can hold water.
And so a subject that we've discussed on this show quite a bit is the state criminal justice system. So Governor Evers did sign a bill delaying the closure of Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake youth prisons. And there's a new report that also came out that said that conditions are improving. So they're going to remain open till July of 2021 instead of January of 2021. That's 6 more months. But what are your thoughts on just really getting the ball moving and having these children come closer to home?
Yep, the ball is moving, and while we do wish that it could be sooner, the fact is this is something we cannot get wrong. And the worst thing we could do is rush that process. The commitment is still there to make sure that that facility is closed and children are moving closer to home. However, what will be the replacement is the bigger question, and that is why the delay is in place. Like I said, you don't want to take them out of there and have the children in a worse predicament than they're currently in.
Yeah.
So it's about being very intentional and thoughtful about how we deliver juvenile corrections, juvenile justice in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay, fair enough. And so you were born in zip code 53206, and I bring that up because it has been labeled one of the most incarcerated zip codes in America. And then, of course, there's the statistics that show that we have the highest rate of African-American men behind bars in America. Every time I tell someone that,
they're shocked.
They're blown away.
They're blown away.
Absolutely.
They even know there are black people in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times you go somewhere and it's like, all right, well.
Yeah, so it's like you have a situation where this narrative could change for many with the legalization of recreational use of marijuana. That's something that you and the governor supports. So with that said, is there some type of, what's the response in really looking at this subject and making it happen? So
that's one critical component of criminal justice reform. And in the state budget, we had decriminalization of marijuana. And even for people that don't think that marijuana should be legalized, they still don't think people should be in jail or certainly not prison for it. So with that being said, that is one critical step, but also in the budget, there was money put in for treatment alternatives and diversions because there are so many people in our prison system who are dealing with mental health issues, dealing with substance abuse issues. And we got to do something to solve the recidivism crisis, because too many people are going back to prison on no new crime, on technical offenses. And we have to be able to divert them away. And the money that it costs to incarcerate someone, that money could be much more effectively spent on a job training program or on a continuing education program, especially if we're talking about nonviolent offenders, people who would be going back to prison for no new offense. That's the way that we solve that crisis. In addition, there's not just a one thing that we could do to reduce our prison population. It's going to take a collection of reforms.
Makes sense. And so I guess the last thing, I just want you to tell the viewers how they can keep up with everything that's going on in Madison, with some of the decisions and the issues that you are tackling. How can they keep up with you?
Yeah, you can keep up certainly on social media. Our official page is Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes on Facebook. Twitter is LG Mandela Barnes. And, you know, that's how we get a lot of our information out there.
That's how you do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure.
This is great.
Thank you. Mandela Barnes is Wisconsin's 45th Lieutenant Governor. He is the first African-American to serve as Lieutenant Governor in Wisconsin and the second African-American to ever hold statewide office. For more information on anything we've discussed, as he said, you can go to his social media. And that is going to do it for today's show. As always, thank you for watching. And I hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.